he says that when you think that I am doing, I am the doer,
Cuando pienso que tú eres el que está haciendo, que yo soy el que hace,
at that time you have been beaten by a very black snake.
en ese momento estás siendo mordido por una negra y venenosa serpiente.
So what happens when a black snake like cobra bites us?
¿Qué pasa cuando una serpiente como una cobra nos muerde?
We die.
Morimos.
In the same way, this, I am the doer. I am the doer is, is the ego. This kills us.
Yo soy el que hace, eso es el ego y nos mata.
Okay? So we have to remove this. How we have to remove this?
Tenemos que sacar esto. ¿Cómo hacemos eso?
It says, Naham karteti vishwasamritam pitva sukhi bhava. You have to always tell yourself that I am not the doer.
Tienes que decirte a ti mismo que no eres el hacedor.
Whenever you are doing any work,
Siempre que
this
haces
I
un
comes.
trabajo, este yo vuelve, viene a ti.
This I comes. You are walking, I am walking. You are drinking, I am drinking. You are sitting, I am sitting. Everywhere there is I which is involved.
Yo estoy andando, yo estoy sintiendo, yo estoy, siempre hay un yo ahí puesto.
But you have to say that I am not doing this, I am not the doer.
Pero tienes que decir, no estoy haciendo esto, no soy el que hace, no soy el hacedor.
Everything is done by nature.
Todo está hecho por la naturaleza.
I don't have any role in this.
No tengo ningún papel en esto.
Okay? I don't have any role, but we think that we are the doer.
No tengo ningún papel, pero pensamos que somos que elegimos, que somos el que hacemos.
And that is why we, go into the cycle of birth and death.
Y es por eso que estamos en este ciclo de nacimiento y muerte.
How can you come to this conclusion that you are not the doer?
¿Cómo puedes llegar a la conclusión de que no eres el hacedor?
The first thing is to become unattached from the results of your action.
La primera cosa que has de hacer es volverte desapegado del resultado de las acciones.
Whatever action we do it for a result.
Cualquier acción que hacemos, la hacemos buscando un resultado.
And we want to enjoy the result.
Y queremos disfrutar de los resultados.
But Lord Krishna says that you should only, work, not get attached to the results of your work.
Y el Señor Krishna nos dice que simplemente lo que has de hacer es trabajar y no apegarte a los resultados.
You have to practice this.
Tienes que practicar esto.
Whenever you are doing some work, do it with full honesty, with full sincerity.
Cuando haces un trabajo, hazlo con toda sinceridad y honestidad.
But when you have done this work, leave it.
Pero cuando haces este trabajo, simplemente déjalo ir.
Don't go back to collect rewards.
No vuelvas a ir.
Whatever you have done will come to you on its own.
Cualquier cosa que hayas hecho volverá a ti por sí misma.
You don't need to run after that.
No tienes que ir atrás de eso.
Okay? So, the first thing is you need to get rid of the results of your actions.
La primera cosa es que tienes que dejar ir los resultados de las acciones.
Then you will see that while you are doing a job or an action, you get attached to the actions also.
Y verás que también cuando haces una acción, te apegas a esa acción, a la acción en sí misma.
Try to get rid of that attachment also.
También libérate de ese apego también.
Always be free from the attachment towards the actions or karmas.
Siempre libérate del resultado de las acciones, de los karmas.
So when you are free from the attachment of the fruits of action and the action, then you will see that you don't have this doer, you don't have this ego.
Cuando te liberas del fruto de las acciones y de las acciones mismas, te vas a dar cuenta que ya no tienes este sentimiento del ego.
You need you don't know yourself, and that is why you need this ego with you.
No te conoces a ti mismo y es por eso que necesitas este ego contigo.
But a spiritual person does not need this ego.
Pero la persona espiritual no necesita este ego.
He knows that he is not the ego.
Él sabe que no es el ego.
He exists without ego.
Él existe sin ego.
And this is how his life goes on.
Y es así como pues, procede en su vida.
So you also have to get rid of this doership, that I am a doer.
Os tenéis que liberar de este yo soy el que hago, el hacedor.
Then you will have, this, when you see that you are not a doer, then you know who you are actually.
Cuando verás que no eres el hacedor, entonces vas a comprender quién eres realmente.
Okay, so you have to practice this, that I am not a doer, I am not a doer. Whenever you are doing any work, tell yourself that I am not a doer.
Tienes que practicar esto cuando te veas a ti mismo, cuando haces una acción, dite a ti mismo, no soy el hacedor, no soy el hacedor.
How will I do our actions?
¿Cómo voy a hacer mis acciones?
The Bhagavad Gita teaches us how we are going to do our actions.
El Bhagavad Gita nos enseña cómo vamos a realizar nuestras acciones.
It says that yogastaku karmani sangam tektva dhananjaya. You have to do your work by being united with the self.
Tienes que hacer tu trabajo estando unido con el ser.
When you talk about self, you talk about a name.
Cuando hablas del ser, hablas de un nombre.
Or a form.
Una forma.
But, when you are doing a work, you need to know that it is the self, it is the consciousness who is working, not this body or the mind.
Cuando haces una acción deberías saber que es el ser mismo quien está haciendo la acción, no el cuerpo ni la mente.
Actions are the manifestations of divinity.
Las acciones son la manifestación de la divinidad.
Divinity is there. What is the proof? It is the actions that we do. Through actions, that divine is getting manifested.
A través de las acciones, la divinidad está siendo manifiesta.
So whenever you are doing any action, you need to know that I am the consciousness, I am the self who is working.
Cuando haces una acción deberías saber que yo soy la conciencia y es esta la que está haciendo la acción.
I am not the name, I am not the form, I am not the individual that I used to know myself before.
No soy de este nombre, no soy de esta forma con la que pensaba que era.
Yogastaku karmani, and then sangam tattva dhananjaya, and then you need to unattach yourself from the results of your action.
Tienes que desapegarte del resultado de las acciones.
While you are doing this action, always remember that you are the self, you are consciousness.
Porque estás haciendo esta acción, recuerda siempre que es el ser que la está haciendo.
And that is why you are not doing any action.
Y es por eso que no estás haciendo.
The self cannot do any action.
El ser no hace ninguna acción.
Why?
¿Por qué?
Why does the self does not do any action?
¿Por qué el ser no hace ninguna acción?
Because actions are done to fulfill our needs.
Porque las acciones están hechas para llenar nuestras necesidades.
We need, and that is why we work.
Necesitamos y es por eso que trabajamos.
When we don't need,
cuando no necesitamos,
then we are in the sea, in a boat, or in the mountains, or anywhere, enjoying.
Estamos en el mar, en las montañas, disfrutando.
So, you have to know that you are not the doer.
Tienes que saber que no eres el hacedor.
You are not the doer, you are the consciousness.
Tú eres la conciencia.
All the actions that is happening are happening through nature.
Todas las acciones que están pasando a través de la naturaleza.
It is not you who is acting, it is not who is performing these actions.
No eres tú quien está haciendo estas acciones.
So, yogastha guru karmani, you need to you need to be always aware that I am the self. And while you are performing any action, do not get attached to the results of those actions.
Tienes que saber que eres el ser y cuando haces la acción no deberías estar apegado al fruto de las acciones.
So when you perform any action, there are two results which comes.
Cuando haces una acción hay dos resultados que aparecen.
One is what is success, the other is failure.
Uno es el triunfo y otro es la derrota.
We like the success, we want to keep the success.
Nos gusta el logro,
but we reject the failures.
pero no la derrota.
But here the Bhagavad Gita says that you need to consider both success and failure to be the same.
Pero el Bhagavad Gita te dice que necesitas tomar el éxito y el fracaso por igual.
It's not different, it's the same thing. Success means, failure in some way.
El logro significa la derrota, el éxito, el fracaso significa el fracaso, es lo mismo.
If you see, when you attain success, you will see that you lose something.
Verás que cuando obtienes éxito estás perdiendo algo.
Again, when you lose something, if you see what did you lose, you will see that in that loss there is something which you have gained.
Y cuando pierdes verás que también estás ganando algo.
So success and loss, failure are both same.
Entonces el éxito y el fracaso son lo mismo en realidad.
Treat this success and failure to be same.
Trátalos como si fueran lo mismo.
This sameness, this treating everything to be the same,
Tratar a todo por igual,
it's called yoga.
Se llama yoga.
It's called yoga. It's called knowledge.
Es conocimiento.
So when you lead a life like this, then you know that you are not the doer.
Cuando llevas una vida así, sabes que no eres el hacedor.
And when you know that you are not the doer, you will see that you are, you enjoy every work that you do.
Y cuando sabes que no eres el hacedor, verás que disfrutas de todo el trabajo que hagas.
Every work that you do brings happiness to you, peace to you.
Cada acción que haces te va a llevar paz, te va a llevar dicha.
So this is the thing.
Esa es la cosa.
Any question you have?
¿Alguna pregunta?
I have a question.
Yes.
How can we put this into practice? Because yes, from one side I understand the concept of like we are not this, but at the end we are here, no? So yes, we in this life at least we are here. So how can we deal with, for example, illness? Because we have to heal somehow. We have to take some action, no? So I don't know if you get what I mean.
Illness is whose? The body's. Illness happens to whom?
To the body, but estaba preguntando cómo ponemos esto en práctica en la vida cuando tenemos que lidiar con la enfermedad nuestra o de algún ser querido o algo. Tenemos que tener acción de, no sé, ir al doctor, ir a hacer chequeos, como, ¿no? Tenemos que cuidar, we have to take care of.
Exactly, you have to take the body to the doctor.
Yes.
And take care of it. But when you have illness, you say that I am ill. You are not ill, your body is ill.
Dice, cuando tenemos el cuerpo, cuando estamos enfermos, debemos llevar el cuerpo al doctor y cuidarlo, pero decimos que estamos enfermos, pero no es así, tenemos el cuerpo enfermo.
In every action or in every event of your life,
Cada acción, cada evento de tu vida,
try to separate yourself and the events.
trata de separarte a ti de los eventos.
You are here
Tú estás
and
aquí
these are all happening.
y esto está pasando.
Okay? Because you are not aware about this you,
Porque no eres consciente de este yo,
you are getting attached to all the events.
te vas apegado a todos los eventos.
And falling under one cycle,
Y es un ciclo.
When you get attached to all these events, then you fall under a cycle.
Cuando te apegas esto,
Karma and its results.
el karma y los resultados,
Okay, or birth and death.
o muerte y nacimiento.
So you fall under this cycle, okay? And this is how the sufferings happens.
Y es como los sufrimientos pasan.
Now, if you are aware about yourself, I am here,
Si eres consciente de ti mismo
and everything is happening here,
y todo lo está pasando a ti,
you can take care of everything,
puedes cuidar todo lo que pasa,
but you don't suffer.
pero no sufres.
You are free.
Eres libre.
Understand? So to have a very free life,
Para tener una vida muy libre,
freedom does not mean that I am free to do anything, I can go anywhere. No, that is not freedom.
la libertad no significa, oh, puedo hacer lo que quiera, puedo ir a todas partes.
Freedom means I will be free from all the consequences, all the actions, effects which this universe will put on me.
Dice yo, libertad significa voy a estar libre de todos los eventos, de todas las consecuencias que esta vida pone en mí.
Understand? Like, there is a saying in Bhagavad Gita. It says, Yada te moha kalilam buddhir rati parishyati. It means, when you are free from all the sounds, all the vibrations
No eres libre de todos los sonidos, de todas las
in
vibraciones
this world.
en este mundo.
So what does this vibration do? They create effect within us.
¿Qué hacen estas vibraciones? Crean un efecto en nosotros.
Sometimes happiness, sometimes bad.
A veces alegría, a veces
Okay.
malestar.
And we see that these sufferings are more in our life.
Y vemos que hay más sufrimientos en
happiness.
nuestra vida que alegría.
Because we have these things, like we have this fear,
Porque tenemos
greed,
este miedo,
lust within us,
esta
And that way
lujuria,
they create sufferings.
y se crean sufrimientos.
I can have good food, I can have good life, but I have fear.
Puedo tener buena comida, puedo tener una buena vida, pero tengo
Exactly.
miedo, ansiedad.
Understand? So everybody has this anxiety, and that is why they cannot enjoy.
Todos tenemos, todo el mundo tiene esta ansiedad y es por eso que no podemos disfrutar.
So when I am free from my mind, my intellect,
Cuando estoy libre de mi mente, de mi intelecto,
when I am free from everything,
cuando estoy libre de todo,
then only I can enjoy life.
es cuando realmente puedo disfrutar de la vida.
Understand? So, this is the thing, this is what liberation.
Eso es lo que se le llama la liberación.
When I am free from all the effects that this universe can put on me,
Cuando estoy libre de todos estos efectos,
all the
que el universo
impositions,
puede
all
poner,
the impositions, all the effects, everything,
todas las
I'm free from all
imposiciones,
this.
efectos, estoy libre de todo esto.
Understand? So that is why self-knowledge is a must
Es
for
por eso
our,
que el conocimiento del ser
for our life.
es súper importante en nuestra vida.
With self-knowledge, you can have eternal happiness.
Con el autoconocimiento puedes tener una felicidad eterna.
You may be in a very, very sad situation,
Puedes estar en una situación muy triste,
but because you have this knowledge with you,
pero porque tienes este conocimiento en ti,
you can bring happiness in there.
puedes brindar felicidad y
You can be in a very, very dark situation
puedes estar en una situación muy oscura,
where people will be very, very scared.
donde la gente puede estar muy asustada,
But because you have this self,
porque tienes este
you are connected with
conocimiento,
yourself,
porque estás conectado al ser,
you can bring light in the darkness.
puedes llevar la luz desde la oscuridad.
Understand? Ultimately, what we need happiness, in our
Al
life.
final lo que necesitamos es felicidad en nuestra vida.
So this self-knowledge makes us happy.
El conocimiento del ser nos hace felices.
Okay. You have to take care of everybody.
Tenemos que cuidar a todo el mundo.
Self-knowledge doesn't mean that you will not take care of anybody, you will forget everybody. No.
El autoconocimiento no significa que vas a dejar a todo el mundo, no vas a cuidar a nadie.
Because when you know yourself,
Cuando te conoces a ti mismo,
you will know that she is also you.
Vas a saber que ella
She's okay.
eres tú también.
Everybody here is you.
Todo el mundo de aquí eres tú.
So you will take care more, you will love them more, because
Vas
they are
a
you.
cuidarlos más, vas a quererlos más. Porque
Understand?
todos son parte tuya, son tú.
How are you feeling?
¿Cómo se estáis sintiendo?
You, yes.
I have a question. Before you was talking about success and fracaso, I would like to know the definition of what's the definition of those words.
Success and failure.
Yes. Please.
Success means when you are doing some work, you have an intention, no? That I am doing this work for this.
El éxito es cuando haces un trabajo y tienes una intención, estoy haciendo esto para esto.
When that intention is satisfied, there is no success.
Cuando esta intención es satisfecha, eso es lo que llamamos éxito.
When the intention is not satisfied, it is failure.
Cuando la intención no está satisfecha, es fracaso.
So when it is satisfied, you become happy,
Cuando es satisfecha, vas a volverte feliz.
and when it is not satisfied, you become sad.
Y cuando no estás satisfecho, te vas a poner triste.
Actually, the success of failure, the result, this result does not depend on us.
En realidad, este fracaso, este éxito, no depende de nosotros.
It depends upon the nature.
Depende de la naturaleza.
And that is why you need to always remain unattached from the results.
Es por eso que siempre tienes que permanecer desapegado de los resultados.
Okay, and that is why it says that you should be, unattached from the results of the
Es
action.
por eso que se dice que deberías estar desapegado del resultado de las acciones.
Many times you will see that you have done a very good job, but the result is different.
Muchas veces te vas a dar cuenta que has hecho un buen trabajo, pero los resultados son
You have said something very nicely to somebody, and that person is very angry with you.
A veces dices algo muy bonito a alguien y esa persona se enfada contigo.
Isn't it? That happens, no?
Alguna vez os ha pasado, ¿no?
That means, your action and your result is not like synchronized.
Sí, y eso quiere decir que
You
la acción y el
may
resultado
have
están
success,
sincronizados.
you may not have success.
Puedes tener éxito o puedes no tener éxito.
So that means the divine wants me to have failure.
No.
Failure is representing the action.
The divine does not want you to be failure or success. The divine wants you to get beyond this worldly success and failure.
El divino no quiere que tengas éxito o fracaso, lo que quiere es que vayas más allá de este éxito y fracaso.
Because beyond this success and failure lies an eternal success, an eternal happiness, an eternal success.
Dice que más allá de este ciclo de fracaso, si vas más allá, entras en un espacio de eterna felicidad.
Because we are very much attached to this, this worldly success and failure.
Estamos muy apegados a
We
esto.
don't have time for that.
No tenemos tiempo para esto.
And that is why, all the scriptures, all the wise men, they come to us and they speak about that.
Es por eso que las escrituras y los hombres sabios nos dicen esto.
Viene de nosotros.
Vienen a nosotros para explicarnos esto, este conocimiento.
Any more question? Let's meditate for some time. What is the time?
No, 6 minutes.
Huh?
6 to 1. 6 minutes to 1.
Okay, let's meditate for some time. One was, I was thinking of talking about the reason of Bhakti Yoga. So this is also one very important part of our life. And without Bhakti, your knowledge is also not complete. if the knowledge does not transform itself into bhakti, or the bhakti does not transform itself into knowledge, then both are not complete.
Si el conocimiento no se transforma en devoción en bhakti, o la devoción en bhakti no se transforma en conocimiento, ambos están incompletos.
So, and the other thing is about Veda, Upanishads, and yoga.
Y el aspecto sobre los Vedas, los Upanishads y el yoga, la Tatra Veda.
So let us start from, how Swami Prabhupada came to Bhagavan.
Entonces vamos a hablar sobre cómo Swami Prabhupada llegó a Bhagavan.
Actually, we lived in a place called Guwahati in Assam, in the northeast part of India.
Llamado Guwahati en Assam.
There is this, railways, we have Indian Railways, which is the biggest organization in the world.
Y nosotros tenemos los trenes de India, que es la mayor organización del mundo.
So my father used to work in the railways.
La mayor empresa. Entonces mi padre trabajaba en los ferrocarriles nacionales.
And Bhagwan also used to, work in the railways.
Y Bhagavan también trabajaba.
So these railways has different, they have different divisions.
Entonces tienen diferentes departamentos, divisiones.
So my father and my master was in Northeast Frontier Railway, which is in the northeast part of India.
Entonces en la parte más norte de la India está este departamento de los trenes nacionales.
So in the railways, like here, we have like numerous, it's called colonies. Like in one colony there are like 400 houses. Then
entonces hay como los triángulos, son colonias, como aldeas, ¿no? Hay 400 casas.
Then there is a market, and then there is another colony in this way.
Y hay un estadio, una colonia.
So our house, and there was a house in between, and the next house was the house of Bhagwan.
Entonces estaba nuestra casa, una casa en medio y luego la casa de Bhagavan.
So he was a great family friend, Means my father was, he was a very good friend of my father.
Entonces era muy amigo de mi padre.
And after, Bhagwan was a very social human being, he used to love human being, everybody. He was not a spiritual person at all.
Entonces Bhagavan era una persona muy social y que amaba a todo el mundo, quería a todo el mundo, no era espiritual en absoluto.
So at one time he used to do this, acting, this drama.
Entonces él actuaba como actor y hacía teatro.
So when I was like 12 or 13 years old, I also acted with him as his son.
Entonces a los 12 13 años también actué con él y hacía de su hijo.
He was the father, he was the king and I was the prince.
Él era el rey y era el príncipe.
While I was acting, I was at the time very small. I was like very little at the time, 12 years. But I found Bhagavan very, very sincere in every aspect of his life.
Entonces, aunque yo era muy joven, yo era un chico, un chiquillo, ¿no? Yo me daba cuenta que Bhagavan era muy sincera con cualquier aspecto de su vida.
At that time, I did not notice this, it was just there, but now when I look back, I see that Bhagavan was very particular in everything.
Ahora que en ese momento no lo veo, pero ahora veo que todos estos aspectos tan particulares de Bhagavan.
Then, one day suddenly we heard that Bhagavan is left acting.
Entonces un día de repente vimos que Bhagavan había dejado de actuar.
He was very popular. When he used to present this drama, many people used to come and they used to visit, they used to see this drama by buying tickets. It was so popular.
Entonces este había hecho muy popular y la gente estaba entrada para verlo actuar.
Suddenly we all heard that Bhagavan is not going to act again. He stopped acting.
Y de repente oímos que Bhagavan no iba a actuar ninguna vez más y que había parado de actuar.
Everybody was very surprised. Why is not acting? What is the problem?
Entonces todo el mundo estaba muy sorprendido porque no está actuando.
But nobody understood actually.
Nadie lo entendía.
And I was very small at the time, so I did not go into the details. Okay, whatever.
Y yo era muy pequeño en ese momento, así que no sé en detalle, pero
But that was the time when he started his spiritual life and he started his, meditation and everything. And that's why he left everything.
Y ese fue el momento en el que empezó su vida espiritual, de meditar y todas estas cosas que dijo todo.
My father was his friend, so my father used to visit him. But after this, time, after he had left his acting, and I found my father very, 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 very interested in this meditation, this, all these books. And I saw my father when I was a child. I saw my father meditating for the whole night in my house. And there was this, my mother was very angry and she was very scared. What is this? What is this going on? And I saw my father, and later I realized that it is because he was going to Bhagwan, he was getting inspired from Bhagwan.
Entonces, en ese momento mi padre visitaba Bhagavan y me di cuenta de que mi padre pues estaba muy interesado con lecturas, mi padre leía libros, empezaba a meditar y recuerdo imágenes de mi madre muy enfadada, asustada, ¿qué es esto? Y ¿no? Con estas conversaciones en casa, y yo me di cuenta entonces que claro, que entonces debe ser que mi padre ya visitaba.
So, in that neighborhood, just one house apart, there was one old lady called Masima.
Y entonces en una casa de al lado había una mujer que se llamaba Masima, una musulmana.
She used to visit Bhagwan.
Y ella solía visitar a Bhagavan.
I knew that she used to visit Bhagwan. I've seen this, that she used to go and sit with Bhagwan.
Y yo lo había visto que iba y visitaba con Bhagavan.
One day, in any reason I forgot, I did not go to school. And I was in my house.
Entonces, una vez, un día, por una que no recuerdo, yo no fui a la escuela, yo estaba en casa.
On that day in the morning, like around 11, 12, suddenly I heard voice of people are very anxious and everybody was running. I went, what happened? I saw that people were all, they all gathered in the house of Masima.
Entonces un día esperé que eran las 11, no me iba al colegio, y eran las 11 del mediodía, y de repente vi una voz y había mucha gente como ansiosa y haciendo ruido, ¿no? Y vi mucha gente alrededor de la casa de Masima.
I thought maybe she has died.
Y pensé que había fallecido.
So I also went there.
También fui allí.
I found out that she was lying in the ground,
Y vi que estaba tumbada en el suelo.
completely unconscious.
Y estaba completamente inconsciente.
And when this happens, what happens? People go and call the doctor, no?
Entonces cuando esto pasa, ¿qué hace la gente? No, doctor, ¿no?
Somebody is unconscious. What will you do? We will try to bring her to consciousness. If she does not come, then we will call the doctor.
Cuando pasa esto, tratamos de volver a la conciencia y no sucede ya musicalmente.
But here people will say, call Bhagwan like this, no?
Pero la gente dice, no.
So Bhagwan at that time was in his office.
Entonces en ese momento él estaba en su oficina trabajando.
So people went to his office to bring him to her house.
Entonces fue la gente a la oficina para tenerlo en su casa.
I was there. I was like around 13, 14 years old, I remember that day very clearly.
Y yo estaba ahí con 13, 14 años y recuerdo ese día con mucha claridad.
When Bhagwan came, that Masima, whom nobody could, bring into consciousness, after a lot of water and everything, no, she did not come to consciousness. Bhagwan came and Bhagwan said, Ma, come on, Ma. Like this. And she opened her eyes.
Entonces cuando Bhagavan vino, que nadie la podía volver a la conciencia ni con agua ni con nada, Bhagavan fue, la tocó y dijo, no, y entonces ella murió.
And in India we have this, this tree called banyan tree. It is an immortal tree, Once it comes out, it will not die. It's a huge tree. If you go to India, you will see that banyan trees of like 1,000 years, 5,000 years old banyan tree. It's a huge tree. So when a person becomes big, we say that he is a banyan tree, That is, he is a huge tree. So Masima, when she came into consciousness, she said, you are a banyan tree, you are a banyan tree.
Entonces, en India tiene estos libros, estos árboles que son banyan, no sé cómo se traduce en castellano.
Banyan. Banyan.
Banyan.
Baniano. Pues los banianos, ¿estáis visto, no? Estos que they have like roots
Yes,
in
yes,
the,
yes.
¿no? Que hay como a raíces, things enormes
Yes.
y
This roots becomes a tree again, you know.
Y tienen miles, mil años, muchos años los árboles.
It becomes a huge
Son
one.
enormes, enormes y muy fuertes.
Hmm?
Ramakrishna place.
Yes.
Yes.
Entonces cuando más quemamos luego al estado consciente,
So-
cuando tú eres un baniano, tú eres un baniano.
I saw
Árboles
this.
banianos.
I saw this because in my, you know, it's in my consciousness because I saw this, that mother was doing this. But after that, my mother also started to go to Bhagwan's place.
Entonces después de eso mi madre también empezó a ir a casa de Bhagavan.
Now, you know, the age from where I come, you know, at the time when I come, at the time our mothers were like always behind us to study.
En ese momento mi madre estaba haciendo estudia.
At the time, this TV was just appeared, you know, TV. We didn't have television. So around like 1987, 88 or 86, the television came to the houses. So, you know, they always, you know, stopped us to watch the television. You know, only study, only like this, you know. So my mother was always after me for studies.
Entonces mi madre siempre estaba detrás mío para que estudiara. Y en ese momento era el 86-87, estaba la televisión y la televisión era mucho más feliz y más divertida, ¿no? Pero en ese momento pues no apagaba la televisión, no había televisión, que te concentrabas solo en estudiar y su madre le perseguía para estudiar.
But, you know, after some time when she went to Bhagwan's place, I found that she was like not so like eager about me, you know, not so interested in me. She was like always in this way, meditating or, you know, in some. She was not if I watch TV, she didn't say anything. Like, you know, there was a serial. There was a serial called this children. You know, this. At the time, a new serial came where they showed that the boys were using drugs. So no parents, including my mother, always taught me to watch that serial.
Entonces, bueno, la cuestión es que podía ver series, veía, el control que podía ver la televisión de su madre, ya no estaba enfadada, su madre estaba meditando, su madre estaba más tranquila, no estaba su madre más tranquila, y en ese momento había una nueva serie que había chicos que tomaban drogas, y ningún padre dejaba que sus hijos miraran esa serie.
So, but that serial was very interesting because, you know, the boys used to wear this, you know, this ear, what is it called? Earrings. You know, we saw for the first time that boys also wears earrings, you know. And this boy.
Mira que muy interesante porque
Very smart boy.
ya parecía un chico con pendientes.
So everybody wanted to watch that serial.
Todo el mundo quería ver la serie. It was very cool, ¿no?
Yeah, very cool. So when I used to watch that serial, my mother used to come and shut the TV.
Entonces cuando yo solía ver esa serie, mi madre venía y me apagaba.
But later I saw that I am watching that serial and she is not doing anything. She is also she's watching me. What are you doing?
Pero yo luego miraba la serie y mi madre venía, me observaba, ¿qué estás haciendo? ¿No? Me observaba todo.
It was like nothing for her, you know. The thing which was like very, you know, important for her, like before 2 months.
Una cosa que era muy importante para ella.
Now I am watching the same serial and she is not saying anything.
Ahora con la misma serie ya no decía nada.
That kind of hurt me, like inside, you know, why my mother is becoming this.
Entonces esto me dio dentro como mi madre está convertida.
And I knew this happened because she was going to Bhagavan.
Y esto ha pasado porque ella está yendo a Bhagavan.
And somewhere inside me, I had this, you know, small anger.
Y entonces dentro de mí tenía un pequeño.
This man is changing my mother.
Este hombre está cambiando.
So, you know, I was kind of angry, you know. What is this? Why are you going there? I used to say
Yo
like
decía
this.
por dentro, ¿no? ¿Por qué está yendo allí? ¿Por qué qué es esto? ¿Por qué va?
So, one day what happened, you know, the house between our house and Bhagwan's house, that house, the man, you know, the uncle of the house, he fell sick and he was detected as cancer.
Entonces, el vecino de al lado, la casa que estaba entre su casa y la casa de Bagabán, el señor que vivía allí tenía cáncer. Un día.
Now, in those days when people had cancer, they died. No? Now people don't die.
En ese momento morían.
So this man said that, okay, if I die before my death, I want to see my son getting married.
Entonces dijo, antes de morir, quiero ver a mi hijo casado, antes de morir.
So then, his son was getting married, and because our neighbor was like a family, so my mother was completely engaged in that marriage. And my food was arranged in Bhagwan's house.
Entonces, como todo el barrio se había convertido en la fiesta de boda, era como una gran familia el barrio, y alrededor de las casas, ¿no? De la casa, y mi madre estaba envuelta en estas preparaciones, en esta fiesta, y mi comida estaba siendo preparada en la casa de la mamá.
So in India, this marriage is a huge thing, like it's not for 1 day or 2 days. It's like, kind of 15 days program, a huge, marriage festival.
Entonces, en India
So it was like 15 days
de fiesta, 15 días de programa.
So I used to go to Bhagwan's house in the morning, eat, and then I used to go to school.
Entonces yo iba a casa de Bagabán por la mañana, comía para la escuela.
And when I returned, I again used to go to Bhagwan's house. I had my lunch, and I used to come back to my house.
Y entonces cuando volvía, comía en casa de Bagabán y volvía en casa.
So this was going on for some time.
Esto sucedió unos días.
One day in the morning, I went for breakfast in his house.
Y un día a la mañana se fue a desayunar a casa.
And I found Bhagwan sitting outside, outside his house.
Y me encontraba Bagabán sentado fuera de su casa.
And Guruma, his wife, he said that, okay, both of you sit here, I am bringing breakfast.
Entonces Guruma,
Like until today.
Guruma dijo que venimos estos dos, que es un desayuno. Porque Bagabán estaba fuera y llegaba, qué pena.
I was angry, with Bhagwan, I had this anger. So that day when I found Bhagwan here, I asked, what are you doing here? Why is my mother here? She's changed completely in this way. I said.
Entonces, Swami siempre dijo, ¿qué está pasando, no? ¿Qué estás haciendo aquí? ¿Por qué mi madre viene aquí? ¿No? Su enfado se lo empezó a expresar.
Bhagwan said, we are searching truth.
Y nosotros estamos buscando la verdad.
I said, what is truth?
¿Qué es
It
verdad?
means at that age, what is this truth and all these things,
Es verdad, ¿no? ¿Qué es esta verdad?
Is it something to be searched? Truth?
¿Es algo que necesitas buscar, la verdad? Es verdad.
No. We are searching for truth. Truth means that, whatever you do, that is truth. Whatever you do, you have to say, that is truth.
No, la verdad es todo lo que tú haces es verdad, todo lo que tú dices te debe ser verdad.
If you smoke, you have to say that you are smoking. No, that is truth.
Si tú fumas, tienes que decir que estás fumando, es verdad.
If you do this, then in 12 years you will attain God. You will see God.
Y si tú haces esto, en 12 años tú vas a ver Dios, tú vas a establecerte en el mundo.
So when he said this, I said that see, I cannot say truth. Because if I tell my mother that I am going to play, she will not let me go to play. I have to tell her that I am going to study somewhere.
Sí,
And then I have to go.
Sí, ahí no puedes dar la posibilidad de que ir a jugar, entonces no puedo ir a jugar, entonces me van a dar a estudiar.
So, by saying this, I came back to my house.
Entonces, diciendo estas cosas, me voy a mi casa.
But when I came back to my house, when I returned to my house, I felt bad, like I said like this, rude things to my wife. He was my uncle, he was a respected person, so I should not say this way to him.
Entonces cuando vuelvo a mi casa me siento mal porque es como mi tío, ¿no? En mi vida ahí está, ¿no? Mi hermana, tío, es una persona respetable, es como un tío, digamos, no de sangre, pero en el sentido, ¿no? Y entonces no puedo decir estas cosas, ¿no? Y hablar de estas maneras que tú, no respetuosas, tampoco educada, no.
So I decided not to speak lie. I decided not to, I cannot speak the truth. But I will not lie, I decided this.
Entonces dije, bueno, decidí no decir la verdad, no la podía decir, pero decidí no decir mentiras.
So now when I used to go to play, if my mother asked me, where are you going? I did not answer. I just,
Entonces, cuando mi madre venía y me preguntaba, ¿dónde estás? ¿Dónde vas? Entonces no contestaba, solo iba yo.
so this was going on for some time. I stopped
Y esto pasó un tiempo,
lying at
y
least.
paré de mentir.
But I cannot speak the truth, but I stopped lying.
Pero no podía decir la verdad, pero me paraba de mentir.
So one day in the evening I was studying.
Entonces un día por la noche estaba estudiando,
But for some reason I was feeling very sad in my mind.
pero por alguna razón en mi mente me sentía muy triste.
So I went out of my house.
Entonces salí de casa,
And when I went out of my house, I saw that Bhagwan was meditating in his house, outside his house.
entonces vi a Baba que estaba meditando fuera de la casa.
And one of his disciples was sitting in his feet, and both were meditating.
Y uno de sus discípulos estaba sentado en sus pies y los otros meditaban.
Like it was dark a little bit, there was a small light there, it was dark. And that scene, that Bhagwan is meditating and this man is sitting at his feet and he's also meditating. That scene attracted me so much that I ran towards his house.
Entonces era de noche y había una luz encendida, y totalmente podía ver esa imagen de Baba y el discípulo meditando, y cuando vi esa imagen se sintió tan atraído que corrió hacia allí.
So I went to his house and he was meditating and his boy was sitting, the man was sitting, his both were meditating. So after some time he opened his eyes and he saw me.
Entonces después de un rato abrió los ojos Baba y me vio.
So he said, why did you come? That day you said that you cannot speak the truth. Why did you come here now?
Entonces Baba me dijo, ¿por qué vienes? ¿Por qué siempre dijiste que no podías decir la verdad? ¿Por qué vienes ahora?
But I said that yes, that day I said that I cannot speak the truth. But actually I have started practicing to speak the truth.
Y que sí, es verdad, ese día dije que no podía decir la verdad, pero en realidad he empezado a practicar decir la verdad.
The moment they said this, he was sitting in his chair and I was right there. He jumped there, and he asked me like this. Yes, this is what I want. This is the thing. You should try.
En el momento que hice eso, estaba como yo estoy aquí y cuando hice eso saltó de la silla, alguien me agarró fuerte y dijo, sí, eso es lo que quiero, bien, eso es lo que quiero hacer.
Means speaking the truth is so valuable. That day I realized how valuable it can be. Speaking the truth is so valuable. This man was like crazy. He was loving me in such a way.
Dice, ese día me di cuenta de lo importante que era decir la verdad. Decir la verdad es tan importante y este hombre lo aprecia tanto y está para Dios y mi hermana de esta forma.
I was feeling like I stood first in my board exam. I was feeling like this. There were people stand first in their board exam. People do like this. Can they love it. So Bhagwan was doing like this. As if I had stood first in my board exam.
Es como si hubiera ido estudiado para el examen, ¿no? Lo hubiera aprobado y esa celebración que era como para un examen lo estaba sintiendo pero por decir la verdad.
So that day when I came home, I had a little bit of, attraction. I developed a little bit of attraction for Bhagwan, but that's it. It was finished there.
Entonces ella volvió a casa y se había desarrollado una pequeña atracción por Bhagavan, había una atracción ahí, pero ya está, ya era todo.
Again, one day, my mother's, like this palm that we chew, you went to Varanasi, you saw, no? I was chewing a palm. My mouth became red. Have you noticed this? My mouth used to be red. So people in India, they chew palm, they leaf and they talk like this. So my mother used to chew palm and Bhagwan also used to chew palm. So one day my mother gave this palm to me and said, go and give it to Bhagwan. But that time I was watching TV. I said, I will not go. And my mother, go like this, and I will not go. So, that serial that I was watching had a break. After 30 minutes there was a break.
Entonces la serie que estaba mirando tuvo una pausa.
So when there was a break, and my mother was, after me, go. So I thought that, okay, now it is a break, I go and eat the pan with him.
Entonces cuando fue el trabajo dijo que ahí la que ver todas las entrenadas.
When I went to his house was completely empty. And that man who was meditating with him on that day, he was sitting outside his house,
Entonces cuando llegué la casa estaba completamente vacía y el señor que estaba meditando ese día con él estaba ahí fuera.
So I say, his name is Pradipta. So I said, Pradipta, I brought pan, where is he? I asked him, where is he?
Y le preguntó al señor, ¿dónde está él? ¿Ahorita han traído pan para...? ¿Dónde está él?
And they said, sit down. So I sat down.
Entonces se sentó.
He said, he is in Samadhi.
Él está en Samadhi.
So this was the first time that I heard this word Samadhi.
Era la primera vez que escuchaba la palabra Samadhi.
I thought that Samadhi may be like some kind of meditation or something.
Entonces pensé que era un tipo de
I said,
meditación.
okay, I brought this pan, you give this pan to him, I'll go.
Ok, he traído el pan, tú le das el pan a él y me voy.
So he said, no, you sit down. When he comes out, you eat.
Siéntate, cuando él vuelva, tú...
I said, Pradipta, please, see.
That's serious.
Please.
Le digo, por favor, ¿no?
No, he will not let you
Estoy viendo
go.
la serie. Dice, no.
When he will come,
Tú cuando él vuelva, tú se lo das.
now I'm like helpless, so I was sitting there.
Estaba ahí sin ayuda, colgando, creo que necesito ayuda.
After 20 minutes, Bhagavan came out of his
Y
house.
después de 20 minutos, va a venir a la casa.
But that day, Bhagavan had a very, very deep samadhi.
Pero ese día tuvo un samadhi muy profundo.
So what happens is, when a person has this kind of samadhi, nobody is supposed to be at that place, it should be alone. Nobody is supposed to be in this place.
Entonces, cuando una persona tiene este tipo de samadhi, supone que no debe haber nadie cerca de esta persona, ¿no? Que esté solo.
And I and Pradipta were sitting in such a way that when Bhagavan came out of his house, Bhagavan saw me first,
Entonces estábamos sentados para ir allí de tal forma que cuando Bhagavan salió de la casa, le vio a Swami primero.
And just by seeing me, Bhagavan became very surprised. Hey, how are you here? Come here. And again he,
Entonces Bhagavan se quedó muy sorprendido cuando le dijo, ¿qué es eso? Ven, y la abrazó.
And that day he said, Pradip, I am telling you one thing, this boy is going to change. He is not going to be like this.
Entonces dijo, este chico va a cambiar, va a ser así.
I thought maybe I will be like a big businessman or something,
Yo pensé que iba a convertir en un negocio, ¿verdad?
Something in a very rich man or
Un hombre
something.
rico.
So I was also feeling good, but
Me sentía bien.
I didn't understand what he was.
Pero no estaba entendiendo lo que se refería.
So then again I came back, and this was the second time that I had this kind of small experience with Bhagavan.
Y entonces volví y esta era la segunda vez que tenía un tipo de experiencia con Bhagavan.
Now, this man who had cancer, this man who had
Entonces el
cancer,
señor que tuvo cáncer,
who used to live in between our houses.
sí,
So this man fell very sick.
entonces se cayó muy enfermo.
So one day my mother came in the afternoon and said, go and bring an ambulance. We have to take him to the hospital.
Le dijo su mamá, ve y toma una ambulancia que tenemos que ir al hospital.
So I brought the ambulance, and the man and his son, myself, I also went, and Bhagavan also came with us to the hospital.
Entonces fuimos al hospital y Bhagavan también.
But when we took the man to the hospital, the doctor said that we cannot do anything. You take him back because he's not going to live for more than 5 to 7 days.
Entonces el doctor dijo que no podía hacer nada y que lo volviéramos a casa, que no iba a vivir más de 5 o 6 días.
So we brought we brought the man back to our house, and Bhagavan told me, come, let's go and have tea.
Entonces lo volvimos a casa y Bhagavan dijo, ven, vamos a tomar té.
So I went with Bhagavan in his house, and we were discussing, like what will happen if this man dies in the night, and this kind of thing, if he dies in the night, what will happen, and this and that. When I was saying these things, Bhagavan suddenly said, He will not die in this house. He will die in the hospital. And I will be in the office.
And you?
Bhagwan will be in the office
Okay.
and this man will die in the hospital.
Entonces, cuando están discutiendo, ¿no? Estaban ahí tomando el té y están hablando qué pasa si de noche muere el Señor, qué pasa si por la noche muere. Y entonces Baba dijo, no, el hombre, de repente dijo, el hombre no va a morir en la casa, va a morir en el hospital y yo voy a estar en la oficina.
I said, what is the relation between you going to the office and he is dying in the hospital? I didn't understand what is the relation. You know, why it is necessary for him to be in the hospital and this man and Bhagwan to be in the office.
Entonces no entendía la relación, por ejemplo, no entendía la relación que tiene que ver que esté en el hospital y que Baba esté en la oficina, ¿no? Preguntó.
Bhagwan said, I have seen the truth. I have seen God. Where I stay, death cannot enter.
Dice, yo he visto la verdad, yo he visto a Dios, donde yo estoy la muerte no puede entrar.
And it was like a very big shock to me. What is he saying?
Entonces fue un shock para mí, porque ¿qué está diciendo?
Means where he stays, death cannot enter.
Sí.
Means what is he saying?
Que dice que la muerte no puede entrar, ¿qué está diciendo?
One time I thought that just going away, thinking that this man is a, you know, like he's a lunatic. Sometimes I thought that this, you know.
Entonces yo sentí que tenía ganas de irme o que me pensé que este señor era lunático.
But then, you know, something inside me said that wait.
Pero bueno, me decía, "Vale".
So I did not talk about this to anybody. That he
Entonces
said
no hablé
this
con
to me.
nadie de esto.
That where he stays, death cannot enter. I did not say this to anybody. I just kept it to myself.
Entonces no me dejaron porque era la relación.
One day we had a festival in a temple which is in the hill, so we went to that festival.
Entonces un día había un festival en un templo que estaba en una montaña, fuimos a ese festival.
When we came back, we see a sword at the man died.
Entonces cuando volvimos, no sé si me había fallecido.
So the first thing that I did was, you know, I was searching my mother and asked him, where did he die? So my mother said, he died in the hospital.
Entonces la primera cosa que pregunté a mi madre, ¿dónde ha muerto el señor? ¿Dónde ha fallecido? Y la madre dijo, en el hospital.
And then I asked, where was uncle?
¿Y dónde estaba mi tío? ¿Dónde estaba?
My mother said he was in the office. Nobody
Estaba
was
en la
there.
oficina, nadie estaba aquí.
So that day, you know, that day I felt that I know somebody who is so authentic, who can say that, you know, where I stayed, that cannot enter. I was full of like gratitude and full of like respect, regards for him.
Entonces ese día me di cuenta que había conocido a alguien muy auténtico y sentí mucha gratitud y mucho respeto por él.
So after some days of this time, after some days, he came to my house and he said that we are celebrating the birth anniversary of Buddha.
Entonces a unos días vino a mi casa y me dijo, vamos a celebrar el cumpleaños de Buda, el nacimiento de Buda.
So you come and you give a speech on Buddha. He invited me.
Y entonces dijo, tú ven y da un speech, una charla de Buda, de invitó.
So on the day of this Buddha's birth anniversary, I went and I gave a speech. And after me, Bhagwan spoke about Buddha.
Y entonces ese día fui, di una charla de Buda y después de mí estaba hablando de Buda.
That was the first time that I had heard something, some spiritual speech, you know. That was the first spiritual speech that I heard.
Y ese fue el primer speech, la primera charla espiritual que escuchaba en mi vida.
I was so attracted and so like, you know, I was so impressed and so attracted by his speech.
Y me sentí tan atraído por su charla
That I felt that all my friends should listen to this speech.
que sentí que todos mis amigos debían escuchar esta charla, este speech.
So after, you know, the program was over, I went to him and I said that if I bring my, you know, friends from my school to you, will you speak the same thing that you said now?
Dice, Y después dijo, sí. Dice, si traigo a mis amigos del colegio a ti, ¿tú puedes hacer la misma charla a ellos?
He said, you bring the students, I will talk to them about Vedanta, about this Swami Vivekananda.
Dice, tú trae a tus amigos y voy a hablar de la carrera de Swami Vivekananda.
And then I started to bring my friends,
Entonces,
lot
a
of
tus
friends,
amigos,
and we started to do these classes with them.
y empezamos a hacer esas clases con la.
So the first class, second class, and third class. When we came to the third class, on the third class I decided that I will spend my life like this. I will dedicate my life here.
Entonces pasé una clase, dos de la tercera clase, y decidí que iba a dedicarse a eso.
That's it.
You were the first, you were the one who knew Shankarananda.
Yeah.
Yo me dije, no.
Rahalananda.
Mi hermana que me dice.
Oh, much more.
Estamos hablando de otros monjes. Que también
Es que
están.
todos, o sea, muchos se metieron monjes.
I came before Maharaj.
Con los papás.
I came before Maharaj.
No,
Bhagavan used to say, you are the most senior most.
Tú eres el más senior.
Maharaja died 84, isn't it?
84? No, 89. First I came, then Bhaskaranda,
En el
Shankaranda,
89.
then Maharaji, then Pragyananda. And then Muslim. Nilananda came in 1994. 5 years ago.
Beautiful story, thank you for sharing. When you are speaking.
So your master has no master.
Yes, his master has his master. His master is Swami Pavitrananda.
Su maestro era Swami Pavitrananda.
Pavitrananda's master is Swami Krishnananda.
Y el maestro de Pavitrananda era Krishnananda.
And Krishnananda's master was Shardama.
Y el maestro de Krishnananda era Saradama.
And Shardama's master was Thakur Ramakrishna.
Y el maestro de Saradama era Thakur Ramakrishna.
Do you know Thakur Ramakrishna? So this is the thing. So let's meditate a little bit and then we start this Bhakti Yoga. Huh?
You can tell me that.
Yeah.
Hare Krishna Prasad. Y esta primera clase que está pasando.
So let's talk about Bhakti Yoga.
Vamos a ver el Bhakti.
In Bhakti Yoga, there are two types of approach.
Hay dos tipos de aproximaciones al Bhakti Yoga, yoga emocional.
In knowledge, we go towards knowledge, we dissolve our mind, we dissolve our intellect towards knowledge.
Nosotros disolvemos nuestra mente y nuestro intelecto en conocimiento.
In Bhakti Yoga, there is a Lord who has a form. So we offer ourselves to the Lord.
Eso era del conocimiento, ¿no? También el conocimiento. En el Bhakti Yoga hay un Dios con forma y nos disolvemos en este Dios.
We connect ourselves with the Lord through love, through devotion.
Nosotros conectamos con el Señor a través del amor y la devoción.
So here, two kinds of things happens. One is, I surrender myself, I offer myself to the Lord and mix with the Lord forever.
Hay dos cosas que pasan. Una que me ofrendo, me entrego al Señor y me mezclo con Él, me fusiono, me mezclo con Él para siempre.
Or I become so big with my values, with my devotion, that the Lord comes running after me and He dissolves in me.
O la segunda, que me vuelvo tan grande con mi devoción que el Señor corre hacia mí y me disuelvo en Él.
It's like it's like this magnet and iron. One time the magnet attracts the iron, at one time the iron becomes the magnet and attracts the magnet.
Es como los magnetismos, imanes, los imanes del hierro, ¿no? Que a veces es el imán que atrae el hierro y el hierro atrae el imán.
So Bhakti Yoga starts with these words of Lord Krishna.
Entonces Bhakti Yoga empieza con estas palabras de Lord Krishna.
Yetu sarvani karmani mai sanyastama paraha anandaneva dhayanta anandaneva yogena mam ananda yogena mam dhayanta upasate. Yetu sarvani karmani mai sanyastama paraha anandaneva yogena mam dhayanta upasate. तेषामहं समुद्धर्ता मृत्यु संसार सागरा भवानी नाचिरात पार्थ मय्या वेशित चेतसा. These two verses, the essence of Bhakti Yoga is saying.
En estos dos versos la esencia de Bhakti Yoga se dice, se comparte.
It says, Yetu sarvani karmani mai sanyastam mat paraha. When you dedicate all your actions, to me, knowing me to be the Supreme Lord, knowing me to be the goal of your life, means when this surrender will happen, the surrender will only happen when I know that my Lord is the only goal of my life. So when I consider my Lord as the only goal of my life, then only I can surrender all my actions and the results of those actions to Him.
Dice, cuando dedicas todas tus acciones a mí, conociendo que yo soy el objetivo de tu vida y que soy el supremo Dios. Esto se refiere que cuando la bendición sucede, solo sucede cuando consideras a Dios tu único objetivo y cuando rindes a Dios todas tus acciones y los frutos, los resultados de estas acciones.
And then he says, Ananda neva yogena mam dhayanta upasate. Ananda means one who is not different from me, one who is not separate from me. So we have to consider the Lord or God to be the one who is never separated with me, who is always in my heart, who is in my soul. And this is how we need to consider the Lord. He is my soul, He is in my heart, He is not separate from me.
Entonces dice que respecto a la palabra que comparte, se refiere que nunca está separado de mí, que el Señor o Dios nunca está separado, es uno, siempre es uno conmigo, siempre está en mi corazón, está en mi misma alma, nunca está separado de este mismo.
So when you consider the Lord to be your soul, when you consider the Lord to be in your heart,
cuando consideras a Dios es tu alma y está en tu corazón,
never separated from you,
nunca separado de ti.
And when this Lord is the goal of your life,
Y cuando este Dios es el objetivo de tu vida,
and knowing that this Lord is the goal of your life, you dedicate all your actions and the results of your actions to the Lord.
y sabiendo que este Dios, este Señor que está en ti, es el objetivo de tu vida, dedicas todas las acciones y todos los resultados de las acciones.
The Lord comes and the Lord liberates you from this world.
El Señor o Dios viene, Dios te libera de este mundo.
And when this liberation happens,
Cuando esta
then
liberación sucede,
you don't need to come back again into this world.
No necesitas volver otra vez a este mundo.
That means you go beyond this chain of birth and death.
Entonces estás libre de esta cadena de nacimiento y muerte.
Okay. So then it says, Mayyeva mana adhasva, Mai buddhi niveshaya, Nivasishyasi Mayyeva, Ata urdham na sanshaya. This is the essence of bhakti. What is it? It says, Mayyeva mana adhasva. We have to, keep the Lord in our heart, in our mind.
Esta es la esencia de Bhakti, significa que debes mantener a Dios en tu mente, en tu corazón.
In no time, if you see your mind, you will see that in your mind there are presence of different objects of this world.
Si tú ves tu mente, vas a ver que hay la presencia de diferentes objetos de este mundo.
You have to replace those objects with the Lord.
Tú debes reemplazar estos objetos por el Señor.
When all these objects goes and the Lord remains only, that is the time, no? Mayyeva mana adhasva. When you have, when you hold your, when you hold the Lord in your heart.
Cuando tú sostienes a Dios en el corazón, cuando todos estos objetos son reemplazados por el Señor, y tú estás sosteniendo a Dios en tu corazón.
And then it says, Mai buddhi niveshaya. We have this intellect.
Entonces tenemos este intelecto.
With this intellect, we, invest in this world.
Nosotros invertimos en este mundo.
We don't invest wealth. We don't invest money. We actually invest our intellect in this world to receive, to get returns.
Invertimos dinero, invertimos riqueza, invertimos nuestro intelecto para recibir el mundo.
So the Lord says that you don't need to engage your intellect in this world.
Tú no necesitas envolver tu intelecto en este mundo.
Engage your intellect in me.
Envuelve tu intelecto en mí.
This is the intellect which was used to get returns from the world. Use that intellect to come to God, to know God, to feel God.
El intelecto que utilizabas para el mundo, para las cosas del mundo, utilízalo para venir a Dios, para ir hacia Dios.
So, we have to keep the Lord in our mind, in our heart.
Debemos mantener a Dios en nuestro corazón y en nuestra mente.
And we have to engage our intellect in the pursuit of the Lord.
Y envolver nuestro intelecto en la búsqueda, en la mirada a Dios.
So what happens? What happens if I do this?
¿Qué pasa si yo hago esto?
The Lord says, Nivashissashi Mayyeva. If you do this much,
Entonces esto,
if you can keep me in your heart, and if you can invest your intellect only to me,
si me mantienes en tu corazón y inviertes tu intelecto,
then you will reside inside of me.
entonces voy a recibir dentro de ti, voy a estar aquí.
The Lord is not saying that the Lord will reside inside us. We will reside inside the Lord.
Nosotros vamos a recibir dentro de Dios.
So what happens when we reside inside the Lord?
Entonces, ¿qué pasa cuando recibimos dentro de Dios?
We become the Lord of the Lord.
Nos convertimos en el Dios de dioses.
Our well-being becomes, the Lord's well-being.
Nuestra riqueza se convierte, nuestra riqueza se convierte en el bienestar de Dios.
Our needs, our wants, our necessities, they become the Lord's necessity.
Nuestras necesidades, nuestras cosas que queremos, todo se convierten en las necesidades de lo que Dios quiere.
Like if a guest comes to your house,
Es como si una persona viene a tu casa.
his well-being is your responsibility.
Su bienestar es su responsabilidad.
You have to see when he eats, when he sleeps, if he is eating good, if he is sleeping good, this is your responsibility.
Tú debes mirar si está comiendo bien, está dormiendo bien, esa es tu responsabilidad.
In the same way, when we reside inside the Lord, then it is the responsibility of the Lord to take care of us.
Cuando recibimos el corazón de Dios, es la responsabilidad de Dios cuidar de nosotros.
And then the Lord says, Ata urdham na sanshaya. Never doubt this.
Entonces dice, nunca dudes de esto.
You might think that this is not possible.
Puedes pensar que esto no es posible,
But this is true. This is very much possible.
pero esto es muy posible.
Okay, so what we have to do is we have to keep the Lord in our mind and dedicate our intellect to the Lord.
Entonces queremos hacer mantenerlos en nuestra mente y dedicar nuestro intelecto al Señor.
Then he says that, sometimes it is not possible because our mind is very, distracted.
Pues a veces no es posible porque nuestra mente está muy distraída.
So because our mind is distracted, we, when the Lord comes inside us, or when we keep the Lord inside, we cannot always keep Him within us. We become distracted.
Nosotros a veces no lo mantenemos, queremos no mantenemos dentro nuestro y nos distraemos.
So the Lord says, Atha chittam samadhatum na saknoshi mahisthiram. If you see that it is becoming difficult for you to hold me in your mind.
Entonces, si ves que está haciendo difícil sostener en tu mente,
because we are used to have worldly things, worldly thoughts in our mind. So all of a sudden, removing these worldly thoughts and putting the Lord in my mind, it might not be easy for us or possible for us to keep Him for a long period.
Entonces puede ser que no sea sencillo remover todos estos pensamientos mundanos y sostener y mirar, para el intelecto y sostener el corazón a Dios todo el tiempo. Entonces que no sea fácil.
So the Lord says that if you see like this, that it is becoming difficult for you
Si ves que se está volviendo difícil para ti,
to keep me in your mind,
para mantener en tu mente,
abhyasa yogena tata mamicchaptum dhananjana. He says, then practice this. Practice to desire me.
entonces practica desearme a mí.
Just desiring me, when I desire the Lord, He says, practicing to desire me.
Practica desearme a mí.
Understand? Just if you practice always to desire the Lord within you, then at one time you will become successful.
Entonces en algún momento vas a establecer cosas exitosas.
See how the Lord loves us,
Mira cómo Dios nos ama, ¿no?
He knows that we might not be able to do it.
Quizás sabe que no somos capaces de hacerlo.
We might not be able to hold Him in our heart.
En nuestro corazón.
So He said that if it is not possible for you to hold me in your heart, then practice to do this. Practice to desire me. So this is how, we go to the Lord.
Esto es como nosotros vamos al Señor.
Now, how we become like a magnet and we attract the Lord.
Y ahora, ¿cómo nos convertimos en magnetos y atraemos al Señor?
Here He talks about certain qualities.
Habla de estas cualidades.
If you, practice these qualities within you, you can attract the Lord to yourself.
Si tú practicas estas cualidades, atraes al Señor a ti.
What is this? Adveshta sarva bhutana maitra karma evacha nirmamo nirahankara sama dukha sukha sami. Like yesterday we were talking that if somebody hurts me, I should not hurt back. Isn't it? Yesterday or the day before yesterday we were talking.
Ayer hablamos de que si alguien te hiere, no debes herir.
If somebody hurts you, then the natural tendency is this, that you hurt that person back. You also do something wrong to him or her.
Sí. La tendencia natural es hacer algo también malo y volverlo, ¿no? A esa persona.
This tendency is called dvesha.
Esas tendencias se llaman.
This tendency of hurting somebody who have hurt you is called dvesha.
Dvesha es la tendencia de herir a alguien que te ha herido.
Lord, the Lord says adveshta, that is, you should not hurt somebody who have hurt you. You should not seek for revenge.
Tú no debes buscar venganza, no debes herir a alguien que te ha herido.
Though somebody have done something wrong to you, you should not you should not do this wrong.
No debes hacer esto.
So, Advaita Sarva Bhutanam. For each and, for everybody in this world, you should have these feelings of not hurting anybody.
Para todo el mundo en este mundo debes tener estos sentimientos de no herir a nadie.
Then, Maitra Karuna Evacha. You should be friends of everybody.
Y debes ser amigo de todos.
What happens when you become friend?
¿Qué pasa cuando te vuelves amigo?
When you become friend with people depend upon you.
La gente depende de ti.
They believe you.
Te creen.
They come to you when they are in need.
Cuando necesitan.
Okay? So, we want to become a mentor. We want to become a guru. We want to become somebody, bigger, higher. But the Lord says that you should become a mitra, that is a friend of everyone. Advaita Sarva Bhutanam Maitra Karuna. You should have compassion. You should have love for everyone. Compassion means when you can feel the pain of others. Don't be like a stone, but a rock. Try to feel the pain of others. If you have food, always think about those who do not have food. At least think about them and pray. At least pray, So you should be like this. Advaita Sarva Bhutana Maitra Karuna Evacha. You should be, you should always not hurt anybody. You should be a friend and you should have compassion.
No debes herir a nadie, debes ser amigo y debes tener compasión.
Then Nirmamo. Mamo means mine. This is mine. This is mine. This is mine. This kind of attitude, you should prohibit yourself. You should not bring this. You have to know that in this world, nothing is yours. Your body is also not yours. One day you have to leave this body and go. This body is also not yours. So there is nothing yours in this world. So never consider anything to be yours in this world. Whatever is, it is of the nature. It is of the Lord. His body is of the Lord. His mind is of the Lord. His intellect is of the Lord. This house, everything is of the Lord. Nothing is mine. So, nirmamo, you have to be always, aware about this, that you should never consider anything to be your own. Nirmamo. Then, nir ahankara. Ahankara means I am the doer. I do. I do. Never consider yourself to be a doer. Always know that whatever you do is being done through you. You are the medium. You are the medium through which the Lord is working. You are the medium through which the nature is working. So you are not the doer. You never consider yourself to be a doer. Nirmamo, nir ahankara. Then it says, sama sukha dukha. That is, we have two emotions in our life. One is happiness and one is sorrow. We don't treat them to be the same. When we have happiness, we want to keep that happiness with us. When it is sorrow, we want to run away from sorrow. But happiness and sorrow is the same. You should consider happiness and sorrow to be the same. Nirmamo, nir ahankara, sama dukha sukha, and then shami. You should be forgiveness. You should practice forgiveness.
Debes practicar el perdón.
Never you should think that I will not forgive. You should always
Y
forgive.
nunca debes pensar que no debo perdonar.
Then, Santushta Satatam Yogi. Santushta, you should always remain contented in every aspect of your life.
Mantenerte contento, satisfecho en cualquier aspecto de tu vida.
Satatam Yogi. Satatam Yogi is a natural yogi. What is a yogi?
Es un yo.
A yogi is a person who always aspires for yoga.
Una persona que siempre aspira al yoga.
Yoga means not this yoga that you do.
Yoga no significa este yoga que hacer.
Yoga means, yoga means oneness with the God, that is called yoga.
Yoga es unidad con Dios. Esto es el yoga.
So Satatam Yogi means naturally he is a yogi, means his natural tendency is always to be one with God, to be united with God, not to be united with the world.
La naturaleza de Dios es estar unido con Dios, no con el mundo.
So when you have this tendency of, naturally you always want to be with God. Your only aspiration, your only goal is God. Then you become Satatam Yogi.
Tú te conviertes en Satatam Yogi cuando tu naturaleza es volverte hacia Dios, y buscar la tendencia es volverte uno con Dios.
Santushta Satatam Yogi Yatatma. Yatatma Dhrishya. Yatatma means when there is many pain in your life, but you are always, still, calm. You might have lot of sufferings in your life, but you are always calm and quiet.
Hay muchos sufrimientos en tu vida, pero tú siempre estás calmado, calmada, con quietud.
Okay? Yatatma Dhrida Nishchaya. When you have very, very firm, firm contemplation, your firm resolution.
Cuando tienes firme contemplación, firme resolución.
This world cannot change you. You are like rock solid, hard.
Este mundo no te puede cambiar, tú eres como una roca sólida.
Santushta Satatam Yogi Yatatma Dhrida Nishchaya. Then Mayarpita Mano Buddhi. His mind and his intellect should always remain surrendered to me. Your mind and intellect can never be surrendered to this world. You will stay in this world. You will work in this world. You will mix with people of this world. But always your mind should be surrendered to God. You will use your intellect in this world, but your intellect should be always surrendered to God. Mayarpita Mano Buddhi Mad Bhakta Same Priya. This kind of devotee, this kind of devotee whose mind and intellect is completely surrendered to me. This kind of yogi is very dear to me. I get connected with him very easily.
Este tipo de yogi que siempre termina a mí es muy querido para mí, me siento atraído.
So what did he say? That Advaishta Sarva Bhutanam Maitra Karuna Evacha. You should never seek for revenge, even if you have been harmed, you have been hurt, but never seek revenge from anybody. You should be a friend and you should have compassion. You should feel the pain of others. Nirmamo nir ahankara. You should never have, this is mine, this kind of attitude. And you should always know that you are not a doer. And you should always consider happiness and sorrow to be the same. And you should always be forgiving. Then you should always remain contented. That whatever you have is okay, it's fine. You should always have this natural tendency to unite with God. when in sufferings you should not waver, you should remain still.
Y tú debes al estar moviéndote, vibrando, y no debes estar con quietud.
And you should have a very firm resolve.
Y debes tener una resolución firme.
Your mind and your intellect should always be surrendered to God.
Y tu mente y tus cerebros siempre deben estar unidos al Señor, a Dios.
This kind of devotee, if you can become,
Este tipo de voto que te puedes volver,
you know,
te puedes volver.
the God will start loving you, the God will come to you.
Dios va a venir a ti y Dios te ama. That's the answer.
Okay?
Okay.
So let's chant it together. How are you feeling? Sophia, follow in India.
La filosofía que seguimos en India
It's called Sanatan Dharma.
es Sanatan Dharma.
Okay? Sanatan. Sanatan means something which does not change.
Quiere decir algo que no cambia.
And Dharma means way of life.
Y Dharma significa el camino de vida.
So this Sanatan Dharma, there are, you know, it is based on six darshans or six, you know, philosophies.
Está basado en 6 darshans o 6 filosofías.
Why is philosophy in India said, you know, referred as darshan?
¿Por qué la filosofía está referida como darshan?
Darshan means to see.
Darshan significa ver.
Like I'm seeing you,
Como te estoy viendo,
when I'm seeing you, your existence is true to me.
cuando estoy viéndote, tu existencia es
True to me.
verdadera para mí.
In the same way, it is said that these philosophies can be seen, means they can be realized.
Porque de esta misma manera se dice que estas filosofías pueden ser vistas, pueden ser realizadas, experimentadas.
Okay, they can be realized, and that is why they are called darshan.
Pueden ser realizadas y por eso se llaman darshan.
So the 6 darshan are
Los 6 darshan son
Vaisheshik, Nyaya, Sankhya, Yoga, Purva Mimamsa, and Uttara Mimamsa. So these 6 darshan, they came in the form how a person approached the truth.
Estos 6 darshan vinieron para explicar cómo una persona se aproxima a la verdad.
So the first philosophy that came to us is Sankhya.
La primera filosofía es el Sankhya,
Sankhya speaks about the truth,
habla acerca de la verdad,
but cannot interpret many other things.
pero no puede interpretar muchas cosas.
Okay? So after Sankhya came Vaisheshik.
Entonces vino Vaisheshki.
It also interpreted the truth better than Sankhya.
Interpreta mejor la verdad que Sankhya.
And then, then came Yoga, then Uttara Mimamsa, Purva Mimamsa, all these come together.
Luego vienen todas las demás.
So they also interpreted the truth.
Y también interpretan la verdad.
But the best interpretation is found in the Uttara Mimamsa, that is in the Upanishads or Vedanta.
Pero la mejor interpretación es este último nombre raro que es el Vedanta o los Upanishads.
The best interpretation is found in the Mimamsa,
Mimamsa.
Mimamsa means Vedas. Okay.
¿Qué significan los Vedas?
So Vedas are divided into 3 parts.
Y estos Vedas están divididos en 3 partes.
The first part is Karma Kanda.
La primera parte es Karma Kanda.
The next part is Upasana Kanda.
La otra es esta.
Upasana.
Upasana Kanda.
And the last one is Jnana Kanda.
La otra es el Dhyana Kanda.
Okay. So Karma Kanda means you have been to Varanasi, no?
El Karma Kanda significa, habéis estado en Varanasi.
You have seen the Arti and all these things.
Habéis visto el Arati, el fuego.
So these kind of rituals, festivals, these comes under Karma Kanda.
Todos estos rituales vienen del Karma Kanda.
These Karma Kandas are performed only to give impression, give an idea to human being that this world is not true, they have to go to another world.
Dice, todos estos rituales están hechos para hacer comprender al hombre que este mundo, que hay otro mundo, que tiene que salir de este mundo.
So the goal of this karma kanda is to attain Swarga or heaven.
El objetivo de este karma kanda es obtener el cielo.
So people have said, we are saying that there is another place called Swarga, which is full of prosperity, and you need to attain that Swarga with your good deeds.
Dice que hay un Swarga que está lleno de bienaventuranza y de abundancia, y que necesitas recoger buenos frutos para llegar a él.
Okay, so from the very beginning, we are given this idea that this world is not true, so you don't need to get attached to this world. There is another world called Swarga, which is there, open for you. You can attain that Swarga only if you do your good deeds in this world.
Se dice que desde primera instancia se dice que este mundo no es bueno pertenecer aquí, que hay otro mundo llamado Swarga, que si haces buenas acciones vas a poder ir ahí.
And these rites and rituals, all this, they help you to go to Swarga.
Y todos estos ritos nos sirven para ir a Swarga.
But as people do it,
Pero a medida que la
as
gente
people
lo
do
hace,
it, they feel the need of a god or some kind of lord or some kind of divine form.
dice, pero a medida que la gente hace estos rituales, se da cuenta de que necesita un Dios, una forma, un algo.
They just don't want to, they don't want to devote their life only in attaining Swarga, but they need some kind of devotion, they need to dedicate their life to some deity or something.
Dice que necesitan, que la gente se da cuenta que no pueden estar solo con esta visión del Swarga, sino que necesitan devocionarse, dedicarse a una deidad.
So then what happens, they transform into Upasana Kanda. They come to Upasana Kanda where, they start to worship. Before they were only doing some rituals to attain something, but now they have started to worship. Started to do this devotion, practice devotion.
Primero se enfocan en este mundo del Swarga, pero después en el Upasana Kanda es el para trabajar la devoción.
Upasana means to worship.
La devoción, sí, la adoración.
So when a person starts with Upasana or worship, then his intellect, then his mind, then his search grows, and he wants to know the truth. What is the truth?
Cuando la devoción con esta adoración se incrementa, el devoto empieza a querer la verdad. ¿Qué es la verdad?
Because this attaining Swarga or these are all told, said to him, they are all imposed.
Dice porque el Swarga y todo lo demás está impuesto en él.
He cannot see them.
No lo puede ver.
But while doing this, he gets this approach that I have to see the truth, I have to feel the truth, I have to know the truth. What is the truth?
Pero mientras se va aproximando, va surgiéndole la pregunta de necesito ver la verdad. ¿Cuál es la verdad?
And that not in my other life, in this life.
Y no en la próxima vida.
I want to know the truth now.
Quiero la verdad ahora.
So when they have this, attitude, I want to know the truth now.
Quiero ver la verdad ahora.
Then they come to Jnana Kanda.
Entonces llegan al Jnana Kanda.
Okay, like we have seen that there is an Upanishad called the Katha Upanishad.
Vemos que hay un Upanishad llamado el Katha Upanishad.
Have you heard the name of Nachiketa?
¿Habéis oído el nombre de Nachiketa?
Nachiketa is a 5-year-old boy.
Es un niño de 5 años.
And Nachiketa goes to the house of Yama. Yama is the lord of death.
Y va a la casa de Yama, el señor de la muerte.
Okay? And Yama gives him 3 boons.
Y Yama le da 3 deseos.
So on the third boon, Nachiketa wanted to know that yeyam prete manushya astit eke nayam asti iti. People are confused whether there is an existence after death or not.
Dice la chiqueta le pregunta, la gente está confundida por la existencia de la muerte o no.
We don't know. We are saying that after death there is a life. We are saying this. We have not seen this.
Nos han dicho que después de la muerte hay una vida, pero no hemos visto eso.
So Nachiketa is asking to the Lord of death that I want to know what is the truth behind this, whether there is existence after death or not.
Y la chiqueta le pregunta al Dios de la muerte si hay existencia después de la vida o no.
De la muerte.
And in the answer, Yama is giving Nachiketa all kinds of temptations.
Entonces el Señor de la muerte le da todo tipo de tentaciones.
Yama is saying that I will not answer this question.
No te voy a responder esta pregunta.
But you take this, heaven, you become king, you enjoy your life in this way,
Coge el cielo, vuélvete rey, disfruta de la vida.
But don't ask this question.
Pero no me respondas a esta pregunta.
But Nachiketa said, no, I
No me
want
preguntes esto.
to know this answer.
Pero la chiqueta le dice, no quiero saber esta verdad.
So by that Upanishad, it is shown that when you are in the path of truth,
En este Upanishad está mostrado que cuando eres, estás en el camino de la verdad,
at that time many temptations will come to you.
muchas tentaciones van a venir a ti.
But you should not, deviate yourself.
Pero no debes desviarte.
You should always stay, stick to your path.
Siempre debes centrarte en tu camino.
And you attain the truth.
Y tú vas a obtener la verdad.
Now, what is that truth?
Pero ¿cuál es la verdad?
The truth cannot be said, it cannot be expressed.
La verdad no puede ser expresada.
Because when you want to know the truth, you become the truth.
Porque cuando quieres saber la verdad, tú te vuelves la verdad.
And because you become the truth,
Porque te vuelves la verdad.
in any kind of knowing, when you try to know anything, you need three things.
De conocimiento, hay
You
tres
need a knower, you need a known, and you need knowledge. Like I am the knower, I want to know her, she is the known, and the one which connects with me and her is knowledge. So always these three things are needed for something to be known.
Se necesitan tres cosas: el conocedor, lo conocido y el conocimiento.
Understand? So there are three things: knower, known, and knowledge.
Hay estas tres cosas: conocido, conocimiento y conocedor.
So as you move towards the truth,
A medida que avanzas hacia la verdad,
this space between the knower, knowledge, and known it reduces.
este espacio entre los tres sujetos se
The
hace
knower
pequeño.
is me, and the known is the self.
El conocedor soy yo y lo conocido soy
My
yo.
distance with the self is decreasing.
La distancia con el ser se hace más pequeña.
At one time, I become one with the self.
En un momento me vuelvo uno con el ser.
So when I become one with the self, then who will know whom?
¿Quién conocerá a quién?
I become one with that. So how can I know him?
Yo me vuelvo uno con eso. ¿Cómo puedo conocerlo?
There is only oneness.
Solo hay uno, unidad.
So nobody can say this.
Nadie puede decir eso.
Nobody can say what is the truth.
¿Qué es la verdad?
The Guru always indicates you towards that.
El guru siempre te indica hacia eso.
That is the truth. That is the Tattvamasi. Tattvamasi. That is the truth. But he cannot express what really is the truth.
Esa es la verdad. El guru dice esa es la verdad, pero no puede expresar lo que realmente es la verdad.
In this way, the Upanishads talks about the truth. Means they indicate you towards the truth, but they cannot speak the truth.
De esta misma manera, los Upanishads pueden indicarte dónde está la verdad, pero no te la pueden mostrar.
Okay? Now, because of this, everybody sees the truth according to his own way.
Por eso cada uno de nosotros ve la verdad de su forma particular.
Like in the Upanishad it says that Ekam Sat Vipra Bahula Vadanti. That is, there is one truth, but people express it in different ways.
Los Upanishads dicen que hay una verdad, pero la gente lo expresa de diferentes maneras.
Okay? So I am approaching the truth.
Yo me estoy acercando a la verdad,
I am approaching the truth knowing that the truth has a form and a name.
conociendo que la verdad tiene una forma y un nombre.
So when I am approaching the truth in that way, I see the truth in form.
Cuando me aproximo a la verdad de esta manera, veo la verdad con una forma.
And I describe the truth to be having a form.
Y describo la verdad como que tiene una forma.
And from there, this dualistic Vedanta has come.
Y de esta manera el Vedanta dualística aparece.
Understand? I approach it in a form and I go further.
Me aproximo con una forma y voy más allá.
And I see that I am the part of the truth.
Yo veo que soy una parte de esta verdad.
You know, this truth is like whole and I am also the part of that truth.
Esta verdad es el todo, yo soy parte de este.
And when I come back, I preach this, that I am the part of the truth.
Y cuando regreso, predico que yo soy parte de esta verdad.
And from there, this qualified non-dualism came.
Por esto este Vedanta no cualificado, ¿no?
Vishishta Advaita, no? It's called as qualified non-dualism.
Dualismo cualificado.
And when I approach the truth as me, as this is me,
Y cuando me aproximo a la verdad como yo,
I see that I am the truth.
veo que soy la verdad.
That is Advaita, where there is no two.
Dice Advaita, donde no hay dos.
Advaita means where there is no two, there is only one.
Advaita quiere decir donde no hay dos, sino solo hay uno.
So I come back and I say that the truth is one.
Cuando vuelvo, digo la verdad es uno.
Okay? So in this way, this Dvaita, Vishishta Advaita, Advaita, they have all come and they are also the part of the Vedas.
Entonces es como estas partes han llegado y son partes de los Vedas.
But what is exactly the truth, nobody knows.
Pero lo que es exactamente la verdad nadie lo sabe.
And that is why it says that whatever you think, whichever is you think to be true is true.
Por eso se dice que cualquier cosa que pienses que es verdad.
And that is why we don't have a single God. Like if you go to Buddhism, you will have one person, Buddha. If you go to Christianity, there is one person, Christ. If you go to Islam, there is only one. But in Hinduism, there is thousands and millions, because everybody has their own approach.
Dice que en el hinduismo es diferente de otras religiones, como el cristianismo solo tiene a Jesús, como el budismo solo a Buda, sino que como dicen que según tu aproximación es verdadera, hay 50.000 dioses.
People say that Hindus have many gods.
La gente dice que los hindúes tienen muchos dioses.
We don't have many gods, we have one God.
No, solo tenemos un dios en realidad.
But we believe that one God is manifesting himself in millions of ways.
Pero decimos que este dios se manifiesta ahí mismo en millones de formas.
And that is why every form is God to us.
Y por eso es que cada forma es Dios para nosotros.
Okay? Any more question?
¿Alguna pregunta?
I have a question because it's when we talk about the difference about religion and spirituality, then in your case you consider yourself Hinduist
No, we are spiritual. Actually, this is Hinduism is not a religion. It's a like Islam or Christianity,
El hinduismo no es una religión como el
Hinduism is
Islam.
a way of life.
El hinduismo es como una manera de vivir, una forma de vivir.
You start walking in this way,
Luego empiezas a andar de esta manera.
when you come out,
Y cuando
you come out as an enlightened soul.
te vuelves una persona iluminada.
It's like a machine,
Es como una máquina.
You start with this karma kanda. In the Vedas, you start with rites and rituals,
Con los rituales,
worshipping,
adorando.
But slowly you see that you will have a development. Your mind will change.
Pero poco a poco vas a darte cuenta que tu mente cambia.
At one point, your mind will not want to do all these things.
En un momento la mente no querrá hacer estas
It will
cosas.
want more.
Querrá más.
Then you start to worship God, you know. You start to worship God.
Entonces,
You go to the temples, you do these chantings,
Cantas.
you know. So, as you are doing this,
A medida que haces esto,
at one time you will start to ask, why are you doing all these things? Where is the truth?
vas a empezar a preguntarte por qué.
I'm chanting, I'm going to the temple, I'm doing this, but I'm not seeing God. I don't see God.
No estoy viendo a Dios.
So then you don't want to do this also, you know.
Y tampoco quieres hacer esto.
And then you start to search the truth.
Entonces empiezas a buscar la
And
verdad.
then you meet your guru.
Entonces tú encuentras a tu gurú.
You know, when you have this search inside, you know,
Cuando tienes esta búsqueda,
then you meet the guru, and that guru tells you that this is not true.
entonces
Actually, this
te
is
dice,
just,
esto no es
you
verdad.
know, to make you come here up to this point.
Pero esto ha sido para hacerte venir.
But the
para
reality is
Pero la realidad
that
es,
you are God yourself.
pero la verdad es que tú eres Dios.
You are that knowledge.
Tú eres este
You
conocimiento.
have to search yourself.
Tú tienes que buscarte a ti mismo.
So from there, spirituality starts.
Y entonces la espiritualidad.
So religion will, you know, help you become spiritual.
La religión va a ayudarte a volverte espiritual.
The once you start your spiritual life,
En el momento que tú empiezas tu vida
then you
espiritual,
don't need to do any rituals, any rites,
no necesitas hacer
any
rituales,
duties. Nothing is there for
unos
you.
deberes.
You don't need to, you know, carry on your duties. Nothing. You're free from you know the nature makes you free. Okay, you go to your path.
La naturaleza te va a llevar a tu propio camino.
Understand? Spirituality is the discovery of the self.
La espiritualidad es el descubrimiento del
When you know who you are,
Cuando conoces quién eres,
you have to know for certain from inside who you are.
tú tienes
When you say
que,
I, you have to feel I.
tú tienes que vivir por dentro, lo tienes que
You
experimentar.
know? And how will you feel that I? Your I and this I or that I is not different.
Que yo, otro yo no son diferentes.
When you say I, and when you touch this one, you will feel the I here also.
Dices yo, vas a sentir el yo aquí también.
You will feel I everywhere.
Sentirás el yo en todo.
That is called spirituality.
Eso es lo que se llama espiritualidad.
There's only one I, and that I is
Solamente el yo.
everywhere. That I is everywhere.
Y es que yo es todo.